Hello, good afternoon. I'm Neil, your confident contractor, and welcome. Today we're going to be talking mostly about umbrellas versus limited companies and what you need to know about all that sort of stuff. Now, have I put myself in the right place? Let us see. And we are. Oh, yeah, we're in a good place. And everything's beeping. Never mind. So, we're going to explore the key differences between these two business structures, an umbrella and a limited company. It's the two you get to choose from as a IoT contractor in the UK, and so it would be fair to say, what's an umbrella company? It is a structure. It's another company, somebody else's company, and they have the contract with the other thingamabob. If you're working for, I don't know, pick somebody big. HSBC, they're quite big, aren't they? They're a bank all over the place. Let's say you've got a contract with them, and then they say, oh yeah, but you need to work through an umbrella company. And so then they give you a list sometimes of which umbrella company to go with. You sign up with the umbrella company, and then the umbrella company have the contract with the end contract. Then there's a limited company. Limited company, a bit different, but essentially the same to what I've just described. If you want a contract with HSBC, instead of saying, oh, you need to have an umbrella company, this time they say, well, what's your limited company? What's your limited company called? And so you give them the name and the VAT number and all the other gubbins of your limited company. So that's the overview. An umbrella company, though, is another company, but who's it owned by? Well, it's actually owned by whoever owns the umbrella company. Now, the owner of the umbrella company will usually be an accountancy or an accountant's practice. Sometimes it's something else, but primarily it's a vehicle for them to move a lot of cash through a system and do the accounting for it. But they own it, and when you're signing up to them, you are signing up as an employee. So it's owned by somebody else, you're an employee. It's a bit like they're giving you a job, except it's a contract. Not too dissimilar to 0 hours contracts that you may have heard of elsewhere. Let's contrast that with a limited company. This is typically controlled and owned by one or more individuals, or even a corporate entity. Take a simple setup is I'm a contractor, hi, and I have a limited company, Millard Services, whatever you want to call it, and I'm the director, I'm the owner, I'm the shareholder. It's all owned and operated by me. I've got some people that help me with it, like my own accountant, but it's not controlled by anybody else, and that's it. The contract, talk about our HSBC contract, that's with the limited company, and then the limited company employs me, but I'm also a director of the limited company as well as a shareholder. Whereas with the umbrella company, if you remember, we're just an employee. We're not a director, we're not a shareholder. But what does this mean? Well, the biggest area of difference is taxation. Under an umbrella, because you are an employee, you get taxed like an employee. So the umbrella company will invoice, and they will receive the funds for that invoice, and then they look at the money and they go, right, okay, well, if we're paying you as an employee, we need to take off all of the income tax or national insurance, any expenses, and maybe a bit of pension contribution and stuff like that, like an employee would. Whereas if you got a limited company, limited companies have got a little step in the middle. So the money comes in, and as it stands, that's a profit for the company, which you would pay taxes on, and then that gets reduced by expenses. Now, paying an employee is an expense, so that would come against the profits. So you've got that bit in the middle. You've got the amount of money coming in for the invoice. You've got your expenses and stuff, which could be paying you a little bit. And then the rest is profit, which the company then pays tax on. And as a shareholder, they get a portion of the profits. So that's where it's sort of a bit different to where the route goes through. So as an umbrella company, the money comes in, you get paid as an employee, you pay tax on that employee money. As a limited company, if you're the director and the shareholder, then you can be paid as the director, i.e. a salary, and you can also receive dividends on the profits that's left. But what about admin? Another biggest difference between the two is an umbrella company, all the admin is handled by the umbrella company. There's a little bit you have to do at the start. You need to fill in some forms so that you get registered. The contract needs to be signed with the end customer. But once that's done, they handle most of the admin. I say most. With contractors, if you're on a day rate or an hourly rate, there'll be a timesheet that you need to fill in. But that's you need to do that anyway. Contrast that against a limited company. There's a lot more administrative responsibility as a director that you have to look after. Maintaining accounts, filing annual returns, managing corporate governance, making sure the correct insurances are in place, and a lot of other gubbins as well. However, this comes at a cost and at a benefit. So you don't have any admin burden with an umbrella company other than the timesheet. But they're less flexible about other things. You have no flexibility, no freedom about how you will divvy that money up. They might give you a tiny choice as to say, hey, you can claim some expenses and therefore you don't pay income tax on expenses. That just goes straight through. But other than that, you've got very little choice as to how they treat the money coming into the business and how it ultimately ends up in your bank. Now, a limited company, you've got a lot more flexibility, a lot more freedom about how you do things. You've got control over business decisions and contracts. This means that you can hire somebody else to help you. You can decide how you are being paid. As a director, you can take a salary. As a shareholder, you can take dividends. What should that split be? What should those numbers be? It's entirely up to you. The expenses still come into the business. You still don't pay business tax or income tax on those. And then there's the pension. So if your income is sufficiently high enough, then you can pay more into a pension should you want to. And then there's also liabilities. So working through an umbrella company, you have no personal liability for the business debts or the business liabilities. However, you will still need some protection as far as professional indemnity is involved. Whereas if you're a shareholder of a limited company, you only have limited liability on those business debts. There's also a thing called a personal guarantee, but as a contractor, you shouldn't need those. How about the costs of running each? So the cost of running an umbrella company is obviously massive. You've got accountants and all sorts of things. But as a contractor, as an employee, then the umbrellas will cost a fee for their services, and that comes out first. Of course it does. And then you get charged tax on everything else that's left over. Counts as kind of an expense, I suppose, only that expense stays with the umbrella company. Whereas a limited company, you might have higher setup charges and higher administrative costs, but you're getting a lot more flexibility for that. So that's a quick overview. If you're ready to become a contractor, then you can fill out the quiz and it will show you about those little admin tasks that you might know about, you might not know about. It's a great quiz. It'll tell you where you are. Then you'll get the opportunity to speak with me afterwards, and if we can work together, then that's open to you. Head over to DevOpsContractor@scoreapp.com and fill in your details so we can send you the report afterwards, answer those questions. And if you've got more questions after that you want to ask us, then stick them in the comments below and we'll get back to you. If not, there's a link on Confident Contractor to our Slack. You can come and ask me in person on Slack as well. So thanks for your time, and I shall see you next time.